Just before we start in this, I'll just give a bit of a background. This presentation was actually initially given at the BIM Regions workshop in Sam's Bar about a month ago, and after a bit of positive feedback we were asked to give it again here at the gathering. Just to introduce the both of us here, for any of you who don't know me, or Anthony, I'm Paddy Ryan. I'm the VDC Information Manager with BAM Ireland, and I've worked on projects the likes of the Hub, Mesa St James's, and I'm on Microsoft Leopardstown at the minute. Anthony can introduce himself here, and he'll take you through the start of this presentation, and I'll bring it home.
Yeah, I suppose my name is Anthony Condon. I'm the BIM MEP Manager for Ethos Engineering. We're a medium-sized consultancy based out in Sandyford. We do M&E. Basically, our BIM path started back in about 2008, and we've been steadily picking up since then. I suppose to explain how this started, myself, Paddy, and a few more were contacted a few months ago. I see a lot of familiar faces around here who are on the same committees and stuff about getting involved with, I suppose, trying to spread information about BIM, so it's not held by one particular person, it's for everyone to share. So with that, there was BIM regions set up here in Ireland. Some were chaired, there's one in Dublin, there's one in Cork, there's one in Galway, there's one in the north. And when we started talking to each other just generally about here, one of the things we decided at our first meetup would be that we would do a small little survey and just generally try and find out what do people want to know about this. Like, we feel we have some knowledge that we can share, we feel other people have knowledge they could share as well. So when we set the regions up, they were set up as an informal thing, hence the reason Sam's Bar was chosen. And it was deliberately non-vendor specific and focused. So one of the things that came out of the survey we started with was people asking about standards. So we said, look, we try and break down these standards because there's a lot of myths about this. And I suppose one of the frustrations for me is like any BIM job that we do is only as good as your weakest link. And if someone has no information or hasn't enough information, they tend to panic and close off, and that does tend to weaken the job itself. So we said we'd start with BS 1192. These are 4 of the common myths that I hear all the time, like that all these standards are new. The standards are large, complicated documents. They're overly complex. They reference hundreds of other standards, and you need all these other standards. So when we started with BS 1192, it was quite interesting for us. Like, what is it? It's basically a standard and a methodology that teaches you how to collaborate within a construction industry, how to share your information, how to make it that we all speak the same language, that we all understand where stuff is. And I suppose a practical application of this would be on a job myself and Paddy are working on at the moment. Like, normally we get a lot of requests of where's your drawing of this, where's your document of that. We don't have that because we've actually adopted this. It's a principle, basically the principle of information sharing and common modelling is becoming very, very important. Like, how many times do people hear, how many times do you have to go looking for a file on a system and you don't know where it is or what it saves? Is it the right revision? So look, after reading the standard, is in short, the central message is get organised, reduce waste and deliver on time. When did it originate? This actually goes back to 1984. So for me, I do remember 1984, but any of the guys on my team at the moment, there's only 1-2 other guys that remember 1984, like, so it makes you feel a bit old. It's been going at various inclinations since then, like, so again, this debunks the myth that this is a new standard. It's been around with ages. It's pick up, again, to go back to Billy's thing, like, these things are around, they're just not being used. The BIM wedge, of course, we stuck in, probably the most overused graphic in BIM at the moment. And then we looked at what's it made of. It's actually only 38 pages in total. Now, I know there's a new version of it that was released about 2 days after we did this presentation, and I think it's gone to 40 pages now. But again, it's not It's not difficult, it's not hard, it's quite straightforward once you just sit down and read it. It has 15 main sections, 3 annexes, 9 workflow charts, 6 tables, and it cross-references only 9 other standards. What does it do? Next question was, what does it do? Look, it defines how we set out our data so that everyone is speaking the same language, everyone knows what a file is called, where, and Paddy can go through with the common data environment. It can be used to define anything, a drawing, a document, all the way down to a CAD layer. And like, it is, what we find is, it's only as complicated as you make it. You can make it quite straightforward. You can have a layer for everything in CAD, or you can have 10 layers that will cover most of your stuff. And look, that's where we go. Look, we did the breakdown on it, like, and we gave an example there of coming from the table. Now, I've been told this morning that that's an old table, I should have put the new one in, but next time. This is something we did in Ethos recently, where we decided to bite into this. So we sat down and we worked out, well, how do we want this to work like? So we sat with all our engineers and we worked out their abbreviations for all our documents, their abbreviations for all our drawings. That's it, it's not complicated, and it can be done in one spreadsheet. Simple like that, everyone explains. So I gave this presentation to our engineers on Monday. We had a guy in work experience last week, he's 16. He came in and he managed to pick it up in an hour. And as I said to the lads on Monday, if he can't work on this, it says more about you than the system. The other thing it does is it helps define a folder structure. A big complaint from an M&E firm, and we do quite a lot of complicated data center type work, is file storage. Where are people saving stuff? Can we use this file? Can't we use that file? So basically, this is its real time saver from my point of view. Like, it simply defines if it's work in progress, it's yours. If it's shared, everyone should know about it, everyone should have it. If it's published, it means everyone's agreed and checked it. That's in short on how we look at it. And archive then is to keep it going. Or Paddy can continue on.
Thanks.
Give the example of how it works.
Yeah, like, so Anthony kind of has to go through the boring stuff, the theory and that. I kind of put in a few more pictures. The first thing you see here would probably have been a golden nugget for us about 6 months ago. And it's fair to say now, you can all have it if you want it, because we've changed it. But what you can see there is literally what our folder structure was. We aligned it with the Reba work stages, and you're starting to find issues straight away with it. You're clicking into 20 folders you could be before you find a file. If you didn't know where the file was, if you weren't familiar with the system, you'd be all day looking for it. It's great to get away from that, to be honest. And this is kind of what you end up having. You end up constantly looking for folders. Like, we worked on our central data environment, and someone could upload a drawing or 2 drawings, and we go into a design meeting and they'd be like, where's your drawings? It was meant to be uploaded last week, and it's just chaos usually. And what also happens is we used to get email notifications. Basically, if somebody sneezed in our central data environment, everybody used to get an email, not just me, but absolutely everybody that was on the project team. And what ended up happening was the guys used to start putting these emails into the junk folder. So no one knew when drawings were coming in. It was really hard to manage. And for those of you who haven't listened to me for the last 2 minutes, have you found Wally? He's there. This is kind of another problem we've had. What I can see is a problem with BS 1192. The latest one, the one that was released in last week or the week before, it has listed out some document types, but it hasn't listed out everything. What we've done in BAM is we've created our own full list of document types. The problem with that is if we're going for an industry standard and everybody knows what type of file it is, no matter what company you work with, is we could have a file name, say, for a program as PR, and another design team might have program down as PG, for example, and it's something that I think they could bring into the next revision of BS 1192. Again, this was another issue we had, and what we found was that there was no QA/QC procedure when files were uploaded. As I said, like, you could absolutely bulk upload a whole lot of drawings, a whole lot of files, documents, whatever it was, and it was really hard to manage it because of the issue, as I explained earlier, where it could just be hidden, and you nearly had to have someone full-time on it to make sure they knew what was up and when it was. And what we used to get was emails. So people used to upload to BC or the common data environment and end up emailing and telling us that it's up there. So it's kind of just like duplicating your work. And then, sorry for some of my terminology, I actually wrote some of these slides at 7 o'clock this morning after coming in from Coppers. So I must have had a craving for broccoli or something, but I had to settle for brown bread and marmalade. So basically, the way we see it is, it's like trying to tell a kid to eat broccoli. It's good for them, but they're not doing it. And what ends up happening is that, and bribery seems to be the answer. And what I mean by that is, we seem to end up having to put it into the contract document at the very beginning if the subbies or whoever is going to actually use the naming structure. Like, we've had an example not so long ago where we've got the documents in, files in for a job, and they're named wrong because we've just come in after the tender stage, and fairness to Ethos, they went ahead and changed their entire naming system within their company. The other two didn't. I don't know if you're here, but and then this will kind of show you, this is our solution, and this will kind of show you why the likes of Ethos are adopting this and why other companies should start adopting it. You need to start looking at this common data environment, kind of the same as you look at Dundee. It's the exact same principle. Let's kind of, well, what I'm trying to say is let's kind of start to forget about folder structures to a certain extent and the size of them, reduce them down to as minimum as we can, and find the files the same as you'd find an Audi or whatever on Dundee. You search in the metadata if you're looking for whatever year, mileage, the whole lot. It's the exact same principle with a file on our common data environment. And this is kind of just an example of the way it works. So across the top in the yellow will be similar how you'd look for a file, a car on Dundee. It's your filter, that's what you're looking for. So if you're looking for, say, drawing, which is a DR, on a certain level, you can pick the level and a certain zone. And we've also aligned it with the Reba work stages as well. So it's across at the very far right. And the revision and the status code also goes in here. So you can now start bulk uploading. So that's just an example there in the green where you can grab as many files as you want and bulk upload them. And then over on the far left, you can see our folder structure. It's a whole of 2 folders. So we literally have the shared and the published. And you're probably wondering where it is the WIP and the archive. Documents in this central data environment are archived automatically, and WIP will probably be on one of our local drives or C drives or on the design team's C drive or wherever. Again, this is kind of an example where we're trying to get the subbies, design teams and supply chain to start using the correct naming system. And if you see there, if you are using the correct naming system with the example I've just shown you, the metadata gets filled in automatically. So the green boxes is filled in automatically if you're using the correct naming structure. If you're not, and this is kind of what we try to tell some of the designers on that job, was you're going to have to fill that stuff in automatically, and that can be very, very kindly. I think it's, yeah, so Anthony had to upload 300 drawings, so I think that's what brought Anthony over the line. Obviously, there is information that you're always going to have to input, like the description. Obviously, once you put in the description once, that's it. If you upload that drawing again, it remembers it was the same drawing. And then you have to put in your revision, your status codes, and your Reba workstage. And then to solve the issue with bulk uploads, the emails getting lost in folders, and kind of the one process that we missed was the quality check process when you're uploading a file to the shared folder from before. Is you now have to save, and you now also have to issue this file to someone. So it's no longer getting sent and 50 people on the project are getting this notification that there's 20 drawings after being uploaded. It's now been sent to the specific person that needs to see it. What happened was that person will only get the email notification. There is an option that you can select that the company get to see it, but they don't get the annoying email. They'll just get access to the file when they look. the little arrow on the top, it's not that bad. Where the A symbol is if you have, say, 20 files, if they're all the same revision or status code, you can just select that little arrow and it will just fill the whole lot of them down the whole way down. This is something I put together last week. I took the new BS 1192 2015. It started to break the status codes into the 3 different types of data and what they represent. So there's now graphical data, non-graphical data, and documents. So it's kind of hard to see, I think, there, but I think these are probably made available on it, but it is a very useful tool to look at. You can see where the likes of the whip goes into the shared folder in the blue line here. And I don't know, can you see it, but it gives you the status codes that represent that data type. So graphical data, a status code can actually only be S3 or S5. S3 is internal comment and review. Non-graphical can be S2, S3, or S5, I think. Bad choice of colour in there. And it's same again with from shared to published. So again, with shared published, it gives you the status codes, it gives you the revisions. So it's actually quite useful from an Excel table is what's been given on PAS or BS 1192. So. And the benefits we found, files are obviously much more easily accessible. You're not getting somebody sending an email out to 20 people with an attachment. You don't need to beat your supply chain into using BS 1192 because if they don't want to name their drones the right way, they still have to input the metadata. So they still have to comply with our CDE, so they're still essentially naming it BS 1192, just not the right way. And it'll kind of guilt or scare them into really considering changing their naming structure. I was out at about 5 different subcontractors' offices in the last 2 weeks, literally giving a presentation on the naming structure, and some of them are god awful. And when they actually see this, they see the benefits of it. But I think it's getting them to change something that they've had for the last 15, 20 years is probably the biggest issue with it. And the last line there I took actually from BS 1192. A major constitute of collaborative environment is the ability to communicate, reuse and share data efficiently without loss, contradiction or misinterpretation. And unless you're hiding under a rock for the last few weeks, the new version of BS 1192 2015 is out now, and it's free to download. So I'd advise you get it if you don't already have it. And that's it from the two of us. Thanks.